Guten Tag, Damen und Herren. NoZoupForYou here, and after months of knowing it's been out there, it's finally time to talk about a premium battleship I know we're all excited about, the Scharnhorst. So sit back and let me tell you whether or not this premium ship is worth your time and your hard-earned money. Let's get down to brass tacks.
I decided to have a little fun there. It's that time of year. Oktoberfest is right around the corner, so very fitting that the Scharnhorst is being released right now. So if you haven't already, dust off your beer steins and prepare. Anyhow, let's talk about the wonderful Tier 7 Scharnhorst. First, a little bit about the history of the Scharnhorst. Or at least, let's talk about the final moments of the Scharnhorst, where the Duke of York made contact with her and shot at her from a range of 11,000 meters. That's pretty far. Scharnhorst took a shot that landed in the forward gun turret, and things went downhill from there. A fire started. Duke of York just pummeled her. And finally, when Duke of York relented, the Scorpion and stored destroyers went in and launched a bunch of torpedoes. 4 of them hit the Scharnhorst, and she was sent to the bottom of the ocean. Of a crew of 1,968 officers and enlisted, sadly only 36 men survived. Probably one of the greatest losses of life for the German Navy and Germans in a single moment. Very unfortunate. Admiral Bruce Fraser of the British Navy said, "Gentlemen, the battle against the Scharnhorst has ended in victory for us. Hope that any of you who are ever called upon to lead a ship into action against an opponent many times superior will command your ship as gallantly as the Scharnhorst was commanded today." So there you have it. The British held the Scharnhorst in very high esteem. Actually, it's kind of interesting because the naval battle over in the Atlantic seemed to be a lot more civil, or at least civilized, than the IJN and the United States Navy. Interesting indeed. Anyhow, enough about the history. Let's get down to the Scharnhorst. As always, I'm going to give the pros and cons. I'm going to give a high-level view of it. I'm not going to get deep into stats because stats change, especially with this ship, you've probably heard. And an interesting thing about the Tier 7 Scharnhorst, a lot of us community contributors thought that the Tier 7 Scharnhorst actually could have been Tier 8. So you've got a very stout battleship here. Of course, it's not without its flaws or its cons. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What do I think about the Scharnhorst? First, let's talk about the pros. Scharnhorst has pretty good range. Almost 20 kilometers. Obviously more than that with the scout plane, if that's your cup of tea and you decide to use that. It's got great secondaries on it, can go out to 5 kilometers. It's pretty quick for a battleship as well, 30 knots. Now your Tier 10 battleships like the Montana can pull that out, the Iowa. However, we're down here in Tier 7, so not always can battleships do that. We know that the Colorado can, and that is primarily going to be your enemy in this tier as far as battleships are concerned. So right there, that sets the Scharnhorst apart. It's kind of got a wide berth for turning, so keep that in mind. But the interesting thing here is the Scharnhorst really kind of operates like a pocket battleship, even though it's not. So what do I mean by that? At least as far as I'm concerned, it's almost like a raider. It's fast, and it's got a spectacular rate of fire. You're not limited to just 2 rounds per minute. You have cruiser firing, and that does a lot for the ship, especially as a battleship when you've got that type of armor. And the armor is very similar to that of the Tirpitz. It is hard to citadel the Scharnhorst. Lastly, it's got torpedoes. And these are the same torps you're going to find on the Terps. Torps on the Terps? Yeah, exactly. And what that does is it makes the Scharnhorst a multi-rolled threat. Now, one thing that I suspect people are going to load out, and I would have if I had had a 19-point captain on my ship, I would load this ship out in stealth. And the reason for that is you can really take advantage of your ship speed and those torpedoes. Really, if you're going head-on with another battleship, you're going to be on them before they know it. And if you're stealth at that time, you're going to appear before they know it. You launch your torpedoes, you take your turn, and you get out of there. Really, this ship has a lot of potential to be a stealth threat. And I would play her that way if you decide to purchase her. And I'll tell you here in a little bit whether you should or shouldn't. Now for the cons. You have 283mm guns. That's not spectacular for a battleship. Now, Interesting thing about it, I don't know if it's the velocity or not, but you can still do decent damage against higher tiered battleships. You can see in some of the video, I was shaving decent hit points off of Colorados and the other ships I was facing. Citadels, on the other hand, are not going to come easily against battleships. Actually, I can't think of recording one, but that's okay. Against cruisers, though, you're going to do perfectly fine. Your HE isn't the best in the world. I used it every now and then. Although I was able to start fires, I attribute that more to the fact that I was able to sling more than the average battleship, because again, your rate of fire is awesome. The biggest problem with the Scharnhorst that I'm going to tell you right now is its dispersion. It's just downright wonky. It is not a very accurate ship. That is probably the biggest con I can think of. But it's not something that should hold you back from wanting to get the Scharnhorst. During my time testing the Scharnhorst, I absolutely punished her. I put her into situations that I normally would not have. Like this segment right here, I'm attacking numerous battleships. Granted, this is just a stock Colorado, but this was to push her to the limits and to determine what her mettle was and what she could handle. So I'm closing onto these Colorados, I'm detected, I've got ships all over the place, I'm being dropped on by enemy aircraft, but that's not stopping me. I'm charging in. Just as I explained, I played this ship as a raider. So here I go. Look at all these shells, these AP rounds just slamming into me. And honestly, I don't feel like I'm taking that much damage. See, here's those aircraft that decided to drop on me. I'm going to evade those real quick with a little turn to the left. I'm only shot down a couple aircraft right now. Again, the AA is not the best. And here we go. I'm firing at these ships. They're firing at me. Again, well, that guy's got pretty bad aim. I'm shaving hit points off these battleships. And again, I can't find the Citadel, and dispersion on my ship's not the greatest. But I'm going to turn in right now. And I'm going to start my torpedo run. And this is where I think the Scharnhorst is an extremely fun ship. Again, those torpedoes just make you an absolute dual threat. And what I'm going to do right now is just do what I call thread the needle. So, keeping in mind I've got ships on both sides, I've got torpedoes on both sides. Just like the Tirpitz. So here I go on my run, I'm taking fire from both directions, and these ships are rapidly coming into range. And I'm going to fire torps off my right side at one battleship, and I'm immediately going to switch over to the other side and fire torpedoes at this little cluster right here, hoping that I can either hit the first in front or in the back. And you can see right there, those torps are just really swimming out there. So again, look at my damage. I'm getting fired at from all over, and I still have a decent... There's torps hitting right there. My secondaries have popped off and set it on fire. Now I'm really getting focus fired. You can see my hit points being shaved down, but still, this is a beast. The Scharnhorst can tank. And that's going to do it for me, but still, I landed a fair amount of torps right there, and this had always been determined to be a suicide mission. So, a lot of fun right there, and normally I wouldn't play as aggressive as that. Now, for my overall recommendation. Should you purchase the Scharnhorst? Emphatically, yes. Purchase the Scharnhorst. If there is one ship you purchase this year, it should be the Scharnhorst. The Scharnhorst is a fun ship. I've outlined why. It's a raider. It's a fast, significant threat to the enemy. You can duel with just about anything. Above all, it's fun though. It's really fun because it's quick. You got all types of armament, and even if your guns aren't that strong against battleships, it doesn't matter because your armor is similar to Tirpitz's armor. It's very good. So my recommendation is, if it's not out already, as soon as it comes out, pick this up. It is a blast. If I could give it 3 thumbs up, I would. Highly recommend this ship. It's a definite pickup. So, if you are a fan of German engineering, Scharnhorst is the BMW of ships. It's really a mini Tirpitz, almost a Tirpitz, placed in Tier 7. And I think in Ranked, it's going to be an absolute beast. That's another thing to keep in mind. You've got the Scharnhorst for rank. She's quick, she's fast, she's deadly, she's got torps. And honestly, I think the Scharnhorst, if 7 is the top tier for ranked, I think Scharnhorst is going to be the go-to in ranked for many, many individuals. So keep that in mind. Ranked is another reason that you should buy the Scharnhorst, because you are going to see it a lot. And it is going to do very, very well in ranked gameplay. So anyhow, those are my thoughts on the Scharnhorst. Thanks for watching, guys. Once again, this has been NoZoupForYou, and stay tuned for more ship reviews and previews, and of course, Real Warship Genius. Zoup, out.